welcome to Tools of the Trade. My name is Chris, and in this segment I hope to give you solid advice and tips on how to get set up properly. Alright, let's get right down to business. The first thing you will need to do is find a place where you can paint comfortably. It is important not to underestimate the effect that this will have on your work. If you create an environment that is relaxing, you will look forward to your painting sessions as a chance to get away from everyday drudgery. Give yourself some space and you'll be able to work longer and more effectively too. So start by making some room for your painting, preferably away from the family, the TV, or any other distractions. Perhaps in your room or den where you won't be disturbed. You will need a reasonably sized, flat surface such as a table or desk. Position as closely to a window for natural daylight. We'll come to the matter of artificial lighting in due course, but for now let it be said that there's nothing better than natural light when it comes to distinguishing your colors and your detail. So take advantage of it when you can. As you can see here, I've laid out a towel across my work area because regardless of how careful you really are, spilling paint, water, or your drinks is going to happen. Alright, the next thing I want to talk about are these guys right here, the paintbrushes. As you can see, I have many paintbrushes to choose from. Now you can go ahead and choose from any kind of paintbrushes you have out there on the market. There are many of them out there. There's no need to buy everything at once. Most of us build up a collection of tools and paints over a few years. Paints and brushes are obviously essential right from the start, but some tools are needed only occasionally for specialist jobs and should be purchased when needed. If there's anything you should spend good money on, it should definitely be your paintbrush, as a good paintbrush will last a lot longer than some cheap one. Always get at least 2 brushes at the very beginning. One for your small brush and your details, and one for larger brush for painting bases in larger areas. Now you can get brushes from all over the place. You can get them from Citadel, you can get them from other areas. In my case, I have a lot of Citadel paintbrushes, and I also have a low Carmel Comfort or the 3650 spotter brush for super fine details. Taking care of your brushes is very important. If your brush looks like this guy here on the right, you're doing a good job of keeping it. It should have a good firm point. If you look at this guy on the left, you've got a problem. You need to get a new brush. Alright, let's talk about your inks, your paints, your foundation paints, and your Citadel washes. The inks are no longer in print, so they're no longer even considered any kind of use to anyone. But your foundation paints and your washes are probably going to be your main source of any kind of painting. The Citadel color set has over 72 to almost 80 different color effects now that you can choose from. But any good person who wants to start off fresh and doesn't have a lot of money to do so could easily start with the simple color sets of Chaos Black, Blood Red, Skull White, Goblin Green, Enchanted Blue, Bestial Brown, Sunburst Yellow, and Mithril Silver. And if you can get away with it, try to get a Dark Angel's Green and a Regal Blue also. With those base colors, you can pretty much mix and match anything you need to produce. The next most useful colors are the variety of browns, as these are difficult to mix. Snakebite Leather, Scorched Brown, and Vermin Brown are a good yellow, dark, and red brown respectively. Bestial Brown is a mid shade. Shining Gold is the most useful metallic paint after Mithril Silver. Most of the other shades can be mixed from those already mentioned, but it is worth getting specific colors if you are intending to use them a great deal, as it saves mixing and ensures that the colors are very consistent. You don't have to use Citadel paints if you do not wish to. There are many other brands out there, as long as it's an acrylic water-based. Speaking of water-based, which brings me to this guy right here. Keep clean water with you at all times. If you change colors, change your water. Due to the fact that if you had metallic silvers in there, they'll stick to the paint and cause your colors to go awry. Or if you have a dark water, or really pigmented color water, and then you try to mix it or shade down somewhere else, you can see it in the shades. So make sure you have clean water at all times. Alright, let's talk about these two little guys right here, super glue and plastic glue. Well, there are actually more different kinds of glue out there in the world, but for our sakes and purposes, we only need to talk about the super glue and the Citadel plastic glue. Super glue is more used for your metal models and other areas like that, and your plastic glue is really good at melting the plastic and bonding the plastic bottles together. Some people prefer only super glue, some people prefer only plastic glue. You'll have to get it in your own opinion how you want to use these. I carry both because I like my metal models as well as I do my plastic models. If you're stuck buying just one tool, make it a good knife. It is necessary for cleaning up the castings prior to assembly and removing small parts from plastic frames. It is also worth buying a proper cutting mat to use with the knife so that you can avoid cutting directly onto your work surfaces. After the knife, a set of files is the most useful part for your toolkit. Used for cleaning and smoothing castings and filing pieces to fit wherever necessary. Files come in many different profiles: flat, round, half round, triangular, etc. It's good to have a really good selection though. Clippers are very useful for removing plastic pieces from their sprue and separating small castings from their metal tags. This is important to realize because no matter what their thickness is, it's generally too hard to cut any thickness safely with a knife when it comes to metal. So you should get a clipper, although you can easily go without buying one straight away. A drill or pin vise is one of what looks like right here if you want to drill holes in either metal or plastic. This is only likely to be necessary if you are undertaking a substantial conversion or modeling project. But some large wing models must be drilled and pinned if they are to stand much handling at all. Alright, what you can't see here is my desk lamp, where I have a daylight bulb. An ordinary bulb will illuminate your work area perfectly satisfactory for any of the colors, but it will look a lot different under artificial light as compared to a daylight bulb. Of course, if your modelings are only going to be seen under artificial light, that's probably not going to be a problem. But a daylight bulb mimics daylight and can be obtained from any kind of shop that sells arts and craft materials. Alright, palettes. If you want to mix or thin paint, then you will need some sort of palette. The best thing to use is a large white plate. But a saucer, tile, or even a proper art palette will do the job too. Whatever you use will become encrusted with paint during each session. If you let this build up, it will become dirty and almost impossible to shift. The ideal practice would be to clean these things in hot soapy water once you have cleaned all your brushes at the end of your session. If you let the paint dry and you still need to get it off, the easiest way to shift this is to soak the palette in hot water so the paint becomes soft, and then use a scouring pad to remove it. Alright, green stuff and modeling putties. I won't get too much into this right now, just know that it's really good for filling gaps and making your own models. It's the same stuff that Games Workshop uses to create them, and in later on segments I will definitely touch this more. Alright, basing your models. When you're basing your models, there's so many different things you can choose from. You can get snow flock, grass, rocks, you can get plastic model bits and pieces. Here on one of my models you can see that I've created the complete terrain with all kinds of different areas on it with rocks and backpacks and everything. You can use fake waters, live materials, grass, tea bags, ground beef, just pretty much anything you can think of. You can glue it on there and paint it nicely. It'll be a good bottom for your bases. I'll get more into basing your models properly in one of the next segments. Alright, well, that's about it for segment 1. Thanks for sitting with me through this. And in the upcoming segments, we're going to actually get our hands dirty with painting and modeling these eyes. I hope you've learned a little bit of something new, or at least something that you can use in some way. And I'll see you in the next segment.